Until I moved to the Netherlands, I never got to play a Grandmaster. My weakness is that I can't lie, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so deep.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch the destiny, and I think I have a good platform now to keep going with my career. For sure, now that I'm more experienced, I know that there were certain things I believe I could have done better.
Hello and welcome to FIDE Grand Prix. I'm Women Grandmaster Dina Belenkaya, and today we're joined by Dutch Grandmaster Anish Giri. Anish, hello and thank you for coming.
Hi, good to be here.
Anish, we know each other pretty well. We grew up in the same chess school. So to start our conversation with, I'd like to show you a photo and you can try to recognize where is it from.
Wow, that's a very old photo. Is it a train? It's not a train, is it? Train? It's train?
It could
Oh,
be.
then if it's a train, it looks like this kind of coupe of a train, and you would think that would have to be towards Sochi, right, or not?
Yes.
That must be towards Sochi, yeah. Yeah, no, then it's probably one of the Russian championships, probably the first one that I played, must be. Yeah, I would expect everyone to be older than this. They look really small.
Okay, so do you recognize your opponent here? You're playing.
Yeah, maybe it's Shimano.
Yeah, it's Shimano.
Yeah.
Do you remember what was your score against him in that match?
No, with Sasa Shimanov, obviously, when we started playing, he's a bit older, and he still is a very talented, strong player. And I think at the start he was much better than me. I started catching up at some point, but I think not yet at this point. Probably he was still much better, and it was great lessons. We had many great players at our chess club.
So then it must have been not a match in your favor.
Probably not, but I've learned definitely a lot. You know, I've had so many of these interactions with these players. Back in the day, I've had a friend with whom we played on the phone as well. You probably know the player as well. He ended up hating chess. Yeah, I ended up loving it though. So he was very good at first, as you know, and we played with him over phone as well. And I think these interactions early on in your career are really helpful because you get such a high dosage of chess. And like I was playing all the time on the train, in a tram, everywhere, and that's really accelerates the growth.
You come from Saint-Petersburg, the city that has so many chess grandmasters. Do you think there is some kind of, let's say, St. Petersburg chess school that is different from other cities in Russia?
Well, I said when I was a kid, I remember we had very clear separation between the clubs, and these were like very different schools. We had our club, of course, which was not the biggest, but still one of the top 4 clubs. And you've got, of course, the Chigorin club there, and you had the Pioneer Palace, which was named differently at the time. And they were like having their own coaches. There were some inner competitions, and yeah, I wouldn't say there's one school. And actually, interestingly, until I moved to the Netherlands, I never got to play a Grandmaster. So despite there being many Grandmasters in St. Petersburg, the fact that there are so many strong players and so many layers somehow made it difficult to face the Grandmaster, because the Grandmasters would play in their own tournament. I would play in the tournament where international masters would play. So I never really got to face a Grandmaster in St. Petersburg. And only when I moved to Holland, I got to play a lot of Grandmasters, and that was an important experience. So in that sense, I wouldn't think there is such a thing. But I think with so many good clubs in the city of St. Petersburg, the chances that you end up in one of the good clubs are pretty high. And I was lucky to have the coaches that I had, and they recommended me the right books and the right training methods, that's for sure.
At some point, being already an accomplished, active top chess player, elite chess player, you decided to write chess books, which is not such a common thing when you're so active. How did this idea come across your mind?
To be honest, I have 2 books that I've written, but I wouldn't say that I was a chess writer as such. I was really contributing a lot to the magazines, the New Chess magazine in particular. As a contributing editor, I was annotating a lot of games. I've been annotating a lot of games for ChessBase as well, before, during, and after that period. So I have a lot of experience annotating games. It's something I really enjoyed. I wanted to share what I think about the games. I wanted to analyze the games, and that was that. In terms of books, these are two books. They're really small, like like literally, very short. And one is a collection of my games. I was just 20 at the time, I guess, or maybe 18,
Yeah.
20 maybe. I think 20 years. Yeah, when I became 20, probably I wrote it. It was not. I think it was the idea of my father. I remember he was definitely for it. I don't know if it was his idea as such, but I was not sure if it's something I should do, because normally you write books after your career. But yeah, it was an interesting little experience. I've written, about my early years, early games. It took honestly very little time. It was a very small project in that sense for me. But it's a nice book now that I can give to some people as a gift. And the other book, it was called After Magnus. That was entirely the idea of the new in chess. I usually when I don't like something and they ask me to do it, I'm too lazy to say no. So I like this interview.
Okay.
I'm joking. It's fine. But I just think sometimes it's easier to accept things and just do it. And it was the same with that book. I didn't really understand why I have to write book, and approaching sort of my best years, why I have to write book about who is going to come after Magnus. And I was suggested to include some players that were picked, in my opinion, randomly. I honestly just annotated the games of these players. They were assembled into a book, and the book was published. I have no emotional attachment to that book. I think one day I probably will write a book, a chess book or something at some point, and I will put a lot of effort into that. And I hope it's going to be a good book. But for now, I don't think I'm a writer.
So at least it's gonna be a bigger one.
Yeah, probably. It's definitely interesting to read books of other players or about other players. Some of the best books are about the top players, autobiographies or biographies, and it's really fascinating to learn about great players. But for that, I have to first become a great player, and I hope I still have a long career ahead. And at the end, there will be hopefully something to reflect on. So yeah, one day. But right now, these two books, I've put some effort in there for sure, but I wouldn't, make a big deal out of it.
Do you think you'd be working just as hard at chess if, let's imagine, it was some kind of a science and there was no competition involved?
I was thinking a lot about it because it's very interesting to try to understand yourself. And once you understand yourself, hopefully if you understand yourself very well, you know what are your strengths and weaknesses, and you know better how to improve. So I was trying to get to the core of what exactly motivates me about chess, and whether it is only the scientific aspect to it, and the competitive aspect is something I take as something that comes with it. But I think that, and I also reflect on that, thinking about my parents, because a lot of your qualities come from your parents, I feel. So I was trying to do a deep psychoanalysis of myself, my parents, now also my children. Because when you watch your children, you see a lot of your own qualities back in as well. Though you try to see what came there from your wife too. So I was doing this deep psychological analysis, especially as I got kids. I started to think about these things a lot. Yeah, I've had a lot of thoughts on that topic basically, but bottom line is that I think for me it is still essential, and it is still a good thing that chess is a competition. I think there is a part of me that likes competition, even though it is much more nuanced compared to some great players and fighters who really focus on the playing aspect of chess, like Anatoly Karpov, Magnus Carlsen, those who are like all about competition. With me, it's much more nuanced and less obvious, but I think I do have that side to me as well.
1 year, 2 years of lockdown until you started playing actively more, let's say, an exam for you in this research. Like, you continued working, you worked hard, you performed really great after that big period when...
No, but I think that for me the COVID lockdown was not much of a pause, because I played online from the start, and I took these online events very seriously, so I don't think I had that pause really. So we were competing like throughout the period of lockdown, and the fact that it was online, not over the board, and rapid and not classical, didn't have that much of an impact, I think. So I can't say that I had that whole year or two of just analyzing chess. No, I don't think that was that. I think there was a lot of competition.
I've already started discussing this point. Your biggest strength and your biggest weakness as a chess player, what would be according to you?
Well, that's very hard, because even if I know it, I would not share it with you. But
you can say just any random.
It's not always a strength, but one of things I pay close attention to is preparation. So I try to prepare something smart. And the weakness, yeah, I know my weaknesses, but I have to share something that I am happy to give away. My weakness is that I can't lie, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so deep. Yeah. Do you have some regrets in your chess career? Let's say if you were to as a chess plant, would you grow yourself differently?
It's a very, very tricky question. I was asked a similar question once, something like, would you sort of start from scratch, throw everything away, and like, let's say, be 7 years old again and just start all over? And it's so difficult for me to answer that, because I, of course, think I know what I could have done better. At the same time, I think to achieve a success, even my modest success that I have already achieved, I think I had to be really fortunate at many different junctions. And I'm not sure if I do it all over again, I'll be this fortunate and get this many opportunities. So yeah, I wouldn't touch the destiny, and I think I have a good platform now to keep going with my career. But I do think that, yeah, for sure, now that I'm more experienced, I know that there were certain things I believe I could have done better. I don't have major regrets. Like, I was into chess for most part, and when I wasn't into chess, surely it helped me as well in some other way. But I have never had like really bad habits or anything like that, so I don't have major regrets. But I think here and there I could fine-tune my training methods a little more. That's for sure.
Would you be willing to transform that knowledge of how a chess player should be, let's say, raised to your kids, or you would let them decide their own?
Wow, actually, it's also a good question, because my son has a little bit of interest in chess. But when I spoke to one of my colleagues who also has small kids, and he told me about his child, and then I had a flashback to myself, and I realized that, yeah, of course, like there is interest in chess, but there are kids who are like insanely passionate, and then you know, you've got some of these kids who are so into chess, you just cannot stop them. And I think that's the kind of dedication you need to become the best player. And I don't think you need to cultivate that as a parent. So I wouldn't like try to, you know, make a great chess player out of my son unless he would really want to. And right now they're both very small, but yeah, it doesn't seem likely, but we'll see.
Who are your favorite chess channels to chill?
I don't watch a lot of chess channels, actually. I have a lot of friends who do, actually, and of course Hikaru is, the good thing about Hikaru is he's always online, almost, so he's always there for you as a channel. I had some periods that I would click. I sometimes watch a bit of streams, sort of more to be, you know, in touch with the youth. Honestly, it is not my sort of way of relaxing or entertainment. I do sometimes tune into streams of Vidit when I see his streams, just because he's a friend and I want to be able to troll him a little bit in some way. So I try to get some extra insight there from some of his streams, so that he feels watched, you know, that he feels that whatever misstep he makes, I'll always be there. But it's more as a joke, and I try to be familiar. Like, I try to look at some small channels. There are some lovely channels, like there are some kids who are doing some very lovely streams. Many interesting smaller chess channels as well. And you see, yeah, some are very entertaining, or some are very funny, or you know, they're small, but they're growing and enthusiastic. So you've got a lot of different channels. I try to sometimes, you know, see what's out there, just because I'm curious. But it's not really something that I do for entertainment, though.
Imagine you would have to do some award list of your choice. Who would you pick as top 3 best chess streamers?
Well, best, no, then you've got to go with Hikaru as like the, the ultimate streamer right now, because he's just very successful, and he is also probably the strongest player who streams almost full time. Sometimes Magnus Carlsen streams, so then you could say that he's a stronger player, but he streams a lot less than Hikaru. So yeah, Hikaru definitely up there. And well, in terms of like, of course, everybody knows in terms of numbers, so like in viewership, like all the way up there, of course, the Botas Life is the huge channel. Gotham is big. That's from States, from India as well. You've got Samay, who's like a completely different profile, because he's much less experienced as a chess player, but still a huge streamer. And of course, my friends Vidit, and I have to mention Sagar Shah with Chess Base India, which is like a whole I wouldn't even call him a streamer. It's like a whole infrastructure of chess, pretty much, that he's been building. These are streams that come to mind right now, but I really know many of them, and they're all growing, and they're all doing their best, and they help chess grow as well.
Yeah, you've mentioned so many great channels. So the reason I asked your question was, let's say for the audience that is looking more of a so to be fun content, if you were to pick just 3, let's say, at least among these.
Okay, no, then I'll pick Chess Base India, Hikaru, and Adiban, of course. He's a rare streamer, but when he streams, always brings a smile to my face.
I'm wondering if Adiban is if Adiban streams more consistently than Vidit.
No, not at all. And he hasn't been streaming for a while, as he got married not so long ago. So I actually saw him recently streaming, and then he said that, no, actually I saw an interview of him recently, sorry. And then he mentioned that, yeah, once he got married, he understood the heavy burden that I also have to carry. And then it's not easy to have so much free time for other things like streaming, for sure.
Just pick one among 3: Russian cuisine, Georgian cuisine, or Dutch cuisine.
Wow, the Dutch cuisine, it's with all the respect to my countrymen. Dutch cuisine is a very special term. If you know the Dutch cuisine well, you know why. Why I'm laughing. Like it's not really. It's not really a big thing in Holland, I believe. Of course, we've got some special dishes that are really good, but mostly it's like fries and so on. The classic. Snack bars are popular, sandwiches, and okay, in that sense, like in terms of food, the Georgian cuisine is like a whole. It's an experience of its own. So people who've been to Georgia. They've inevitably been treated to that. Everybody, is just putting the stuff out there on the table, and it's a special cultural experience. So I gotta choose the Georgian cuisine there. Also because my wife might be watching, and then you don't want to make any missteps. To be fair, while my mother is Russian, my father is from Nepal, and my father he is very strict in a way about his food. Strict, like because he like strongly prefers. And there's this funny story that my mom tells always to explain the situation better. She says like one time she cooked pasta, spaghetti, pasta for dinner. And my dad came. He looked, he opened the, looked inside. Oh, this pasta. It's okay, great. And where's the food? So that sort of explains. My father really likes this. Nepali food, and when you think of Nepali food, you have to think of Indian food. It's quite similar in nature. A lot of rice, of course, vegetables, meat, the curry type of things. So my mom cooked that a lot because that's what my dad really liked. My dad also cooks that. So at home we mostly had that. Of course, for like New Year and so on, we've got all the salads and stuff like that. But mostly at home we had the Nepali food.
Let's say I'm giving you the field and you choose the language only one for this field that you think is the easiest. So what would be among the languages that you speak? I don't know if Japanese is still there, but best language for chess would be according to you from your box.
Well, let's just establish the choices I have. So I speak English, obviously. The Russian is my first language, though currently already I speak so much English that I'm more fluent, although reading is still easier in Russian. So Russian is there, the Dutch is there to an extent. I think I am fluent in Dutch, though I don't speak it much these days. And I used to speak Japanese very well and Nepali at some point. Well, I mean, when it comes to chess, Japanese is definitely not a language that's currently very relevant. They've got their own board games, of course, and chess, although has potential, just like in China, to grow, it's not yet, that's not yet happening. Nepal is also not yet a chess superpower, though there's potential for that any moment. On streets of Nepal, people are playing chess actually a lot, and being so close to India as well is definitely influence in that sense. So I could definitely see chess booming in Nepal at some point, but not yet. So I've got to choose between Dutch, Russian, and English. And I think still, given how many books there are in Russian, and you know, Fisher learned Russian specifically for chess, it would be unfair if I wouldn't mention that.
Now let's go for best language for trash talking.
Wow, best language. Somehow when you said trash talking, I immediately thought of Vidit, so then I immediately thought the best language would be Indian and the best accent would be an Indian accent as well. So I think that would be the combo for trash talking.
Best language for literature?
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm not well read, but I did read some classics, so I tried to sort of compensate for, for so much chess. So I read some things that I thought are essential to read, like they're from Russian literature and Dutch. I had to read a lot of Dutch literature because of my school. I have to say that Dutch literature is really something else. Like, it's very weird for someone who is not Dutch. Like the big famous big Dutch books, like it's really weird stuff. Like maybe Dutch people take it for granted, but like the level of like the whole, it's very meta. Like the symbolism is a big thing, and it's very deep, weird stuff sometimes. So, but of course, in terms of what I read, for me the literature would be Russian. That's what I've read the most so far.
Best language for raising kids? Okay,
at this point I have to say that I do not support the invasion of Ukraine, but I do raise my kids in Russian because that's my first language. And that's the language I speak to them. So yeah, it would be strange of me to mention another language.
Okay, we're not going to go into politics, but...
No, but I mean, let's say if we right now speak, I answer 3 questions in a row with Russian, and then we don't address the elephant in the room, it would also be very strange.
And the final one, best language for laugh.
It's deep. Suddenly, I realize I have one more option. I have Georgian, of course. I understand quite a bit of Georgian by now, and by now it's probably my 4th language. I've never tried to speaking it, but I do understand a lot. So since my wife is Georgian, I will pick suddenly Georgian as language for love.
I had an interview with Levon Aronian, and I asked him what school of trash talking is he coming from. He said it was a Soviet one. What would be the one for you?
Levon is very good at trash talking, of course. That's for sure. He's also he's very strong, at chess in this environment. Like in the environment where you just play chess and you are totally free and you talk and you trash talk, and I believe in that environment Lev sort of opens up as a player, and I once played some casual blitz games with him after some tournament. I was destroyed like never before. I mean, he was so strong. I was really surprised. Back then, he was never playing e4, and he played e4 in all the blitz games, and he played so well. I was just thinking, why doesn't he play more e4? By now, he started playing e4 as well. Don't know if it's because of that, but in terms of school of trash talking, wow.
Maybe it's just your natural talent.
The trash talking. Yeah. Honestly speaking, I haven't been taught much. I don't think, I don't have much trash talking education, that's for sure. It's more improvised and just raw natural talent, yes, I would say.
Your ultimate goal as a professional chess player is obviously to fight for the crown, no need to mention that. Do you have some other projects at your, let's say, calendar, some big things that you would like to accomplish in the, let's say, nearest years or so, anyways related to chess or not necessarily?
Well, I mean, other than just normal things, like because I've got a family and sort of some ordinary life things that I'm constantly trying to keep track of. Yeah, besides playing chess, because during COVID there was so much free time, I've also ended up recording some chess content. Some of it is streaming, some of it was the education content on Chessable, for example. And yeah, that's one of the big things, because yeah, the Chessable courses I did were really big, and it was relatively speaking time consuming as well. So these are like major projects I did, and that's also something I'll probably continue doing most likely. And other than the making content, no, right now I'm really enjoying sort of chess, you know, trying to get better as a player, keep playing. That's what I focus on. I think it's also the right thing to do at this point in my career, given the age and everything. And I think that really should be my focus. And especially with so many tournaments resuming again, that's definitely the focus for the coming years, for sure.
In some alternative reality, or maybe in some amount of years in the future, would you see yourself, let's say, working in chess politics, FIDE, or some kind of related stuff to that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe just politics.
Yeah, no, wow.
Full stop.
If there will be some politics left by the time I end my chess, maybe. But right now, hard for me to imagine. But if I try to sort of, you know, as just thinking thought experiment, as they say, just to think what I would do if after my career. I do like chess like a lot right now, so I could definitely see myself staying in chess world even beyond my professional years as a player. I think right now I'm really into the game itself, so I could definitely see myself like trying to help other players, maybe some other promising players, you know, as like a, I don't know, a coach or such, but maybe someone, you know, who can help a little bit, guide some naive souls. I could also imagine organizing maybe some things. I imagine at the end of your career you have so much experience, so many connections as well, and then you want to give back to chess. And because right now, as like you're a player, you're like consuming, you know, the organizers, you know, they organize, and then you come there with the logo of your own sponsor and you consume. But at some point it's maybe good to give back and organize something else, and yeah, you know, build infrastructure for other players. So I could see doing that as well. That's what many chess players who are retired do, or who are about to retire. And yeah, I mean, chess politics, like, I wouldn't say like this, like politics. I don't think we have like chess politics as such. I mean, we have, of course, like things that are sort of, there is infrastructure, you know, like FIDE and so on, but it's not like we have like a lot of developments. You know, we've got elections and then something happens, I guess, but you have people who are like tweeting annoying tweets at FIDE all the time, but I don't call that chess politics.
How close and stable is your friendship with Vidit Gujarati?
Yeah, it was a good one. I think it was some clickbait that I clicked. The question was like, how stable is your? And I thought like, wow, what a, like Vidit, like mentioning the word stable, like Vidit doesn't use such words, but yeah, no, it was for sure. I think he didn't address that question, which was very disappointing, because he didn't really address the stability of it, stability aspect. He didn't speak about that, and so I was just clickbaited. So when it comes to stability of our friendship, actually, it's a very good question, because the friendship between two players is indeed, it's indeed all about stability of that. Because I remember there is a player, obviously not going to mention his name, but there's a player, and we were greeting each other, even having some short conversations. Then I won 2 games against him in a row, and he stopped greeting me. And then I lost 2 games in a row, and he started greeting me again, like, oh, hi, how are you doing? And that's when I realized that, okay, with some players, it's really important for them how your individual score is going. So in that sense, you never know the stability of any friendship. It depends a lot amongst top players. It depends a lot on individual encounters, and you know, I'm sure if there comes some tense match with high stakes, I mean, he might get mad at me, or I might get mad at him, But you know, at the end of the day, I think when it comes to Vidit, I'll always be able to forgive him for whatever wrong he does. But I don't know; it's early to say.
That's a very nice way to finish our conversation. Thank you so much, Anish, and lots of luck here in Belgrade, but also in Berlin in the third leg, and hopefully we'll meet again.